Guys, what are we doing today? Well, we're going to look at 5 crazy knives. Not much else needs to be said. Let's turn this around and take a look at 5 knives from above. Like I said in the intro, there's a lot of crazy knives out there. I have picked out 5. All but one of these are my personal knives. So we're going to crack into it. They're not all crazy just because they have crazy blade shapes like the one I showed in the intro, which really isn't crazy. But we're going to start with what I think is one of the coolest ones that has come in a long time. This one right here. The Finch Buffalo Tooth. Now, this is a very, very unique, crazy looking knife. This is a full jigged titanium handle with their typical glow in the dark shield. It is done in 154 cm. What makes this crazy is this thing is just insanely big and beefy. Just to give you a size comparison, this is a standard knife. This is the standard kind of blade and handle you're looking at. So this thing is completely over the top. It is a very thin grind on this. And I've seen knives like these that are done. The thing about Finch knives is they do knives that are typically folding knives, but they do them in a flipper fashion. They modernize those. This is really actually a very good, very functional knife. And that's what you're going to find about all of them, no matter how crazy they are. This thing is just kind of nuts with how bulky it is. They've got a pretty good flipper tab on it. They've got a pretty good pocket clip on it. This is an easy carry. If you don't really want to have anything else in your pocket, it does get in the way of a lot of things. But with all the Finch knives, just insanely good action. So not only is it over the top, insanely good execution, action, everything about it is great. I have done a little bit of cutting with this, just test cutting. I haven't really carried it yet. And it cuts really well because it does have a nice, broad, thin behind the edge profile. And you can definitely get a power grip on this and just power through some stuff. So this one is definitely unique. I do like the jigged titanium. It's a very, very good look. We'll see how I like it once I start carrying it, but it is definitely cool. Absolutely a little crazy. So let's move on to the next knife, which is my Ferrum Forge spinner that's been done to look like a fish. Now, this is crazy because this wasn't like stamped or anything like that. This was all hand carved and hand finished by Chris and Elliot Williamson. This was one of their Maker's Choice spinners, and it was a collab with Mike Gavick, who makes crazy looking knives to begin with. And then just the detail work that went into this. So this is done in 20 CV. It's got a custom ceramic coating on it. I have used this knife, as you can see, a bunch. As rare and as unusual as this knife is, it's got some very, very cool lines on it. But when you get down to it, it's a very, very comfortable cutter. Nice and thin behind the edge. Tonto-esque profile. Big forward finger choil, and the action on it is exceptional, as I would expect from one of the hand-built knives that the Ferrum Forge boys were doing. But on top of its crazy looks, it is a crazy good knife. The ergos on this are insane. You have a huge aperture on here, which is the biggest aperture I've seen on a knife for a very long time, until I got a couple others after, but this was the first one that I saw that had such a huge aperture on it. And just the fact that that is all hand carved with a Dremel, and not even one of the extended cable ones, just like the motor above it, with a 1/32 ball end mill to get these little scales all carved in there by hand. I bought this knife. This is not something that was given to me or anything like that. I did buy this knife. I was given the opportunity to buy it at a song way below what it was actually worth. This knife is one of my This is a knife that, like, every time I see it, I think I should carry this. And then I realize how much work it would be for the boys to have to redo any finish on this. So I very rarely carry it, but it is insanely good. Super, super sharp. One of my favorite showings from the boys over at Ferrum Forge, just to show off what they can do when they set their minds to it. So there you go. There's your second one. I had to get that one out of the way. This is a knife that has been very polarizing with you guys that are in my community. You've seen this before. This is the Tucson TS383. The reason we have this video is I had this out yesterday. I was carrying it and I shot a short and I was like, this thing's just nuts. And I was like, okay, there's other crazy knives in my collection. What makes this unique is just the visuals on it. There's guys that say it looks like a security door or like a dog kennel. I can't disagree, but what it has going for it is it's insanely comfortable in hand, stupid light because this is all titanium. And what you don't see is that down inside, I mean, you can see it now. Down inside, they milled out everything you see milled on the top is also milled on the inside, which means that this thing is insanely light for the size, gives it a nice neutral balance, tip forward balance, beautiful blade shape done in 14C 28N, one of my all-time favorite steels, and it is super thin. This is still one of the best slicing knives in my collection. It carries like a dream. Beautiful milling on it. Even if you don't like the look of it, you got to admit that the milling that was done on this is impeccable. I do know that some of the Two Sons knives have dropped in quality. Jared was talking about it. I have noticed it. That's why you haven't seen any new Two Sons. I have not went out of my way to try and track any new ones down, but this one is amazing. And it's still one I would recommend. If you can find one in 14C 28N, they have done some of the best knives in 14C, in my opinion, that have come out a long time. They're spot on with their heat treat for it. The way they've done their grinds, their ergos, their lines on some of their knives, just insanely good. Absolutely love this knife. This was a gift to the channel. And I could not be happier. A lot of times stuff comes in and it winds up being giveaways. This is one that's going to stay with me. I love this. It gets a lot of pocket time, I will tell you that. So there you go. Let's move on to the next one right after you guys know. Gotta do the sponsor thing. Coffee Brand Coffee. I think you guys knew that this monster was going to wind up in this video. This is the PMP Knives Kodiak, and I absolutely do love this. This gets pocket time when I have a substantial enough belt, because I'm not gonna lie, this thing is a monster. It is heavy, even though there is weight reduction in this. It is massive. And it's just crazy how much fun this knife is. You're looking at a big chunk of M390 that has been ground very well. For a large knife like this, I'm very surprised that they got such a functional grind on it. It does cut well, and it is really comfortable. Beautiful milling done on the handles as well. If you look, it has got a frag pattern. Typically not a fan of frag pattern, but they did a good job on this, not making the frag pattern sharp. You've got a really decent pocket clip. Only thing I would say about it is that the pocket clip does sit kind of in there, and it does kind of have an issue with in and out of pocket. But yeah, awesome knife. Great action for such a large, bulky knife. You can reverse flick off the fuller. They've done weight reduction in the blade, which gives it a definite, unique look. PMP is one of those companies that has designed so many knives that I absolutely love at this point. Look at that backspacer. It's just massive. And like I've said in videos before, it looks like something that belongs in Warhammer 40K, that belongs in an Ultramarines backpack. That would be this would be like the Ultramarines utility knife right here, their pocket knife. So it's just insane how good they did on this knife. So I think these might be available from time to time. I thought I saw a couple. So there you go, PMP Knives Kodiak. And if you didn't see this one coming, you kind of haven't followed the channel. This is my personal Grimsmo Norseman, and it is a crazy knife. Not only is it crazy in its appearance, it's got a very unique blade shape. A lot of people say it looks like, well, I can't tell you what it looks like, but you know, just you know what it looks like. I think it looks like an angry pelican, but on top of the fact it is very unique, this is probably one of the most insanely well done knives I've ever handled. This is my personal one. I did purchase it. I paid full price for it. This thing is nuts. It is beautifully constructed. The machining that's on it is absolutely immaculate. It is some of the best machining, which makes sense because John Grimsmo said for a long time, and has said, that he's not a knife maker. He's a machinist. He just happens to be a machinist that makes knives. The step down blade on this, the milled blade on this, one of the first knives to have that, and a lot of people critiqued it and criticized it. And it has become something that a lot of other makers now do. I love the way it looks. I love the fact that they're not at all trying to not make it look like it was a CNC machined blade, but even down to the hardware, the attractiveness of the hardware, the work that goes into each and every screw. It's just insane. Like, they don't have to do those little speed holes on the screws, and it's on all of them. Pocket clip, there's markings and things under the pocket clip. There's hidden little Easter eggs inside the knife when you take it apart. Even the bearings are marked as Grimsmo bearings. So everything about this knife just is insane when it comes to everything you get for it. It is a over-the-top, nuts-looking knife, but it's also one of the best knives I have ever owned when it comes to construction standard and how well it was done. So there you go. That was 5 crazy knives that are either in my collection or here at the house. All of them but one is mine. So let's turn us around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day.
You knew that Norseman was going to wind up on the list somehow. You know, it's my favorite knife, and it is kind of crazy. I have to say, out of all of them, I think this one impresses me about the most because of what they were able to do with something this big and still make it functional and comfortable. It's a little heavy, it's a little crazy, but I really kind of love it. So not much else to say on this one, guys. Already been kind of a long video. You guys know what to do. Like the videos. Go follow my sponsors, Tempered Trail and Coffee Brand Coffee. There's links to them down below. There's a coupon code at Tempered Trail that also works at Ferrum Forge Knife Works and Rosecraft Blades. That coupon code is Crazy Sharp, all one word. It's already built into the link for the Coffee Brand Coffee. Best coffee you're going to find well, when you look at what you're getting and you're not supporting anything. It's a guilt-free purchase, and they have a money-back guarantee. I also have an Amazon store where you can take that link, pin it to your browser, use it for any of the Amazon shopping you're going to do. It doesn't cost you anything, and it definitely supports the channel. The final way is I have a tier-based membership with 3 tiers. Everyone gets early access to videos. Everyone gets exclusive content when I'm able to do it. Everyone has access to the Gilded server, which is just like Discord. It's a private chat server where we hang out, lots of rooms and things. I also do giveaways for the baseline and premium tier guys, and the premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series here on YouTube behind that paywall. Guys, that's it on this one. I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I'll see you next time.